gonna make about this for now. A few months ago, I realized, like, holy shit, the band Far was rebelling against them. Far was like a post-hardcore band, kind of like the precursor to emo. They were responsible for acts like the Deftones even existing. They were hugely popular locally, and they got signed to a major label, right? And despite this album being amazing, especially in culture at the time in the 90s, it just kind of flopped. And I think why it flopped is very evident when you see what they did on their major label album. Their logo is on a triangle toppled over with a small child holding a similar symbol, screaming to the people. And it says, "What I've wanted to say," um, with string cans to you, right? And the opening line is what I've wanted to say, as you can see here. This is the opening track, right? On this, their major label album. Already we see a lot of shit on this cover, right? And back in the day, the cover art was huge in the album. You kids don't know this because you know streaming and digital, but in the 90s, the cover art, the album art was part of the message of the album. You would be excited to see the cover art, the booklet, all of that, right? And knowing what we know now about who rules us, it's kind of weird they made their symbol on their album a triangle on its side with and it's tilted with the point represents the exclusive top being down and the bottom flaring out, and the same shape is reflected with a little girl holding the top and the bottom flaring out in a communication device. In between the two symbols is with string hands to you. And as you know, that's technology communication. And the opening line is the opening song is what I've wanted to say. So what's this song about? Let's listen to it. Best and least, the worst of me at the same time. Makeup tin cans with strings to you, and you know I really mean it. Oh, the more I say, the more I just sound like a carnival barker yelling, selling art. Don't worry about looking dumb. I do it all the time. It's actually pretty fun. Whatever. It's overblown. It's as relative as hot and cold, good and bad, young and old. Do anything. There's no wrong. It's all right. I wish for you what I wish for me. Flashlight movies, the reason, the medium. I will say this if you don't listen, if you don't listen, I don't mind. I'll still say this if you don't listen, if you don't listen, I don't mind. Do anything, there's no wrong, it's alright. This is what I've wanted to say this whole time. Now, for those of us kids when this came out, we missed all that symbolism with the triangles and the little kids grabbing the top to scream at the bottom to free them and wake them up. All the parts about where he uses light, vision, as a inverted symbol of shining light on society and the rulers. We kind of just took what I wanted to say to be a song about, like, a punk liberal anthem of do what you want, like be free. Like, Far was a post-hardcore band, kind of the precursor to emo, which was garbage, but post-hardcore was really fucking good, right? It basically took the energy, the vibe of punk, hardcore punk, and made it more melodic and emotional. And bands like Far invented that. They invented that. We wouldn't have the Deftones without Far. And the slop they called emo in the Y2K, which sucks, but we wouldn't have that without bands like this, right? Now, we just took what I wanted to say to be like a typical punk song, like a post-hardcore song. Like, it's emotional, it's intense, it has that driving hard punk edge, but very sing-songy and melodic and emotive. And we just took it in the vein of like punk, like do what you want, be free, don't be burdened by self-doubts. Very punk consistent message. But then knowing what we know now, and we look at the album cover, and so much in that song is kind of it's speaking about what the tone of the album is. And by the way, the next song, Love American Style, goes into even more specificity about how evil the elites are, mentioning harming children, killing children. Every media outlet is the same and fake. Oprah, you love her. It's after this song comes that song, which is more specific. And if you're not paying attention, you won't connect the two. Yeah, but knowing what we know now, we can see like, oh, after they were signed to a major label, they were so violently disgusted by these people that they made their entire album dedicated to trying to wake people up and hate them in a subtle way. And that probably has a lot to do with why the band failed, even though they were so fucking good, right? We see this garbage slop that's mindless, like Ice Spice get boosted. And it's just such trash. And something like that didn't succeed. And the difference is one of these people is rebelling against them low key, and the other one would never rebel because they have nothing to rebel against. Like they were created by the system, boosted for no fucking reason. They were in a Taylor Swift video standing on the top of a pyramid before anyone cared about them. They had any real fans, right? This would be the polar opposite of that. An organic artist that was really famous locally, and so major label records took an interest in them. And then when they learned about what it's really about, they were disgusted, and they did the total opposite. The album cover art are triangle symbols tipped on their side with the children they abuse, holding them and screaming to the people what they do. And the opening line of what I've wanted to say is a mock of the Illuminati, the best and the worst of me at the same time, like disgusted. There's a one part of the song where he whispers, "I want for you what I want for me," meaning he's not into this. He's not into viewing himself as a special, powerful person while you all suffer. He's disgusted. Disgusted. I want for you what I want for me, which is the polar opposite of something like I'm Designer, where it's like, no, 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 no. I'm addicted to this illusion of specialness and power, and I will sell the world out. Don't care. I know I'm an addict. I'm fucked up. This is the opposite of that, where it's like, I find all this repulsive. I want to topple this thing over. I'm going to leave this message here. If you hear it, if you understand it, I'm still going to say it. And I'm not interested in this. I want for you what I want for me. And you can really tell on the album because he repeats this over and over. He was disgusted by the child abuse. Absolutely disgusted, right? So there's lots of songs like Celebrate Her about valorizing innocent children and also comparing general control and oppression to being a little girl. And of course, the cover art where he's toppling over the system, this their favorite symbol of a triangle, and a female child's doing it. Yeah, I think this is what I think. Farr was a real artist that was responsible for promoting post-hardcore that would influence our culture, but they never made it because when they tried to make them part of them, they were disgusted and they were basically trying to tell the people how disgusting they are. They were particularly disgusted about the ritual child abuse, and they just made sure it bombed. And so nobody knows about them really, unless you're like me and you were into that music. And the sheer word of mouth from people, not industry, is why you knew of them. But they basically made them fail, right? Even though they're responsible for a lot of these ass lickers who are in good to the future, right? You know, it goes both ways. Knowing what I know now, you see shit like this. Hold on. Album. Give me a second. I gotta look it up because I don't have this shit on my phone. Sting and the Police's opening album. Hold on. Ah, fuck. Where the fuck is it? Google's being a piece of shit right now. I should have planned this out better, huh? Okay. Yeah, I can't find the album right now, but the Sting and the Police's opening album, they're all in a triangle shape and one eye's covered for all of them. You know, that's what they usually do and have been doing for the past several decades. And those people just are famous for no reason. I think back, like, why was Sting still famous in 2000? Desert Rose, like, why was that a thing? He was just some random British dude making like funk jazz. Why do we need to hear this in 2000? But it's because of that. Because he when he was invited to the cult, he was gung ho. And bands like Far, where they literally revolutionized music, unlike Sting and the Police, they're basically klepting funk and jazz and not doing much new. Um, Whereas this was new. They made post hardcore. They took hardcore punk, which is not melodic, but it's very energetic and it's about injustice and rebellion. And they basically added an emotive edge and a sing-songy style. And they were consistent with their values. They're disgusted by oppression, right? No one cares about them now. And the difference between these things with Sting and those pieces of shit doing this on the triangle versus toppling the triangle and the kids you've abused speaking to the people. And they're the medium, the flashlight that means the medium, right? So, yeah, like shit you missed when you were young and you didn't know how bad it was and how bad it's been. And Trump, they want you to think Trump's out of the box. No, Trump is planned for probably 20, 30, 40 years more. They were going to get someone like this to be the means to destroy the country. And they've been planning on it being Trump since the 80s, which is why The Simpsons always predicts the future, why they always know 9/11 is going to happen, why they always know Trump's going to be president. It's because they planned this and they were grooming Trump for this role since the 80s. Every intelligence agency representing capital holders was planning it since the 80s. And you realize the people who are famous are not the most talented. They're not the most worthy. They're just the biggest prostitutes, as Josh Home would say. And people who are actually super talented and innovative often get left behind because of the fact they're disgusted by them. So when you see all these people, New York Times bestseller, and they won't let you forget it, and they're pretending to be a revolution, and they're just rapists and murderers and scum, and they don't seem to have any real talent. This is why you can see this dynamic with someone like Josh Home and Queens of Stone Age just keeps being famous forever versus someone like the band Far, where they were actually innovative, invented new things, but they got left behind. How they place the triangle and what they're doing with it will tell you why that is.